Hello, welcome, and congratulations on downloading the college checklist that will help you avoid costly college mistakes that most parents make. Your checklist will arrive in your inbox shortly. I wanted to take a few seconds to introduce myself. My name is Ashley Jordan, and I help families and students save up to 50% on college costs, as well as to help them graduate on time without the student loan debt or uncertainty. I am an educator of nearly a decade, having taught science at both the middle school and high school levels. And I started my business, My Education Connections, to really help families gain clarity on the college planning process, as well as to help them ease their frustrations and concerns, and help assure that they graduate on time without the massive debt or regret. And I'm so glad that you opted in to watch this video because I really want to give you some strategies and tips to effectively use your checklist. Once you receive your checklist in your inbox, you will find on page 2 the costly college mistakes as well as some statistics that you will want to avoid. The first statistic on our list was pretty interesting to me. I found that 80% of college freshmen enter as undeclared, meaning they don't have a clear plan when they actually start college. This will often lead to number 2 on our list, which is that over 57% of students take more than 4 years to graduate. Most actually are ending up taking 6 years. And $300,000 may seem like a lot when you look at number 3 on our list, but this is actually the estimated cost of those extra 2 years spent in college, because you have to factor in not only tuition, fees, textbooks, room and board, but you also have to factor in lost income during that time, lost benefits, and lost contribution to retirement, adding up to that estimate of $300,000. So making sure that students finish in 4 years is really a huge cost saver. Number 4 on our list is important to understand as well as to avoid. 2016's graduating class had an average total student loan debt of over $37,000. And as you'll see with number 5, this leads to an average of $350 per month that they have to pay back for a decade, and this usually begins about 6 months after they graduate. All of this leads to the over $1.4 trillion that we have spread across over 44 million borrowers in just the United States. These are numbers and amounts that we do not want to saddle ourselves with or our students with. It really can be an undue burden. Leading to number 7, a lot of students and parents will look at colleges and choose a brand name or a prestigious university because of simply the name, not necessarily of what that college can provide for the student. And what's interesting is a 2014 Gallup poll indicated that 84% of employers actually view knowledge as the most important factor when hiring a candidate, versus only 9% who view where the student earned their degree as the most important. So it's important to understand that we have to look at what career field the student is going into. So I, for one, knew I wanted to be a teacher when I was going to college. And I knew going into education, I was not going to make a lot of money. And that's okay, I love teaching. But I understood that going to a prestigious university or a quote-unquote brand name really wasn't going to do me any favors in the long run. I wasn't going to make a lot of money, so having to pay back high amounts of debt just really was not feasible for me. So I understood and I did a cost-benefit analysis on what college would really be the best fit for me. Now, my scenario was not another student scenario, and in some cases, if you want to be a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman, it's really important to, in some cases, go to more prestigious universities because you're building contacts, you're building a network, and it may be beneficial for the career. So it really is important to do a cost-benefit analysis and to understand what the child actually wants to go into, what they will be successful at, and if going to a brand name university really will be worth it in the long run, because they tend to be a lot more expensive. So that is why planning ahead is really vital when we're talking about college. And last but not least on our list are tuition increases. Most universities are actually experiencing double-digit increases in tuition each and every year. This is 10 to 12% in the amount of tuition that you're going to have to pay more every year. And so if they stay for those extra 2 years, that's even more that we have to add in there. Now, All of these things are important to keep in mind when we're talking about college planning. And it's really important that as we go to page 3, this is where you will find your checklist, and this will really help keep you on track when you're planning for college and help you to avoid some of those costly mistakes. Anytime you are preparing for college, you're making a commitment, and it's going to require a great amount of time, in some cases money, and also patience and follow through. And so what I would like to do is actually go through our to-do list. So the first item here on our checklist is to really plan ahead. And how we can plan ahead is to discuss goals with our child. Also, start developing a budget. Oftentimes, I will find parents and students, they don't discuss what the budget is. It's almost like it's taboo in a way. And that's very important to address because the student needs to understand what the budget is, and the parent really needs to start to hone in on what their budget will be for college as well. It's also important to factor in future costs because, as we noted, most universities are experiencing tuition increases each and every year. The second item on our to-do list is to begin a college savings account for your child as soon as possible. You may already have one, which is fantastic, but if you don't, it's not too late. Now, this could be a state savings plan, it could be a private account. You really need to address what's best for you and your family. The third item on our checklist is really to begin preparing as soon as possible. This includes preparing for standardized tests like the SAT, because higher scores not only help with admissions, but they also can help win scholarships, which can address some of our budget concerns. The fourth item on our list is really to discuss your child's interests and match them with the best career and major field for them. Now, the best way to do this is to take an online assessment or an assessment in person to really help provide you with objective data that can remove the guesswork from what would be the best for the student. The fifth item on our list is really to do a cost-benefit analysis on the college versus the career. So the example that I gave with teaching, okay? Ask yourself if you're going to a school because that's what's best for the child and their career field, or are we simply choosing it because of the name and the prestige that comes along with that name? And will that prestige put an undue debt burden on our child in the long run? So it's important that we understand what is the best path for them. We also want to try to avoid loans whenever possible. And the sixth and final item on our checklist is to really make sure that we follow through. Once your child gets accepted to college, the work is really just starting for them, and for you, it's about making sure that they are able to graduate on time, that they have a clear path for finishing in 4 years, because that ultimately will help reduce the cost, the debt, and make sure that they're able to begin their career as soon as possible. A great way to assure that a clear plan is developed is to work with a college planning professional, because one of the things that I hear from parents often is that there's just so much information out there, some of which is contradictory, and they really don't know how to put the pieces together or really where to even begin. So working with a planning professional can really help with that. Now, it's important to understand that this checklist is a great starting point, but it's really just the beginning of a 3-step process. Now, our 3-step process is the College Planning Roadmap, or CPR for short. And this is because we can save you on college costs as well as to assure that you graduate on time. Now, our 3-part process begins with a personal consultation. This is really to understand the needs of both you and the student and to really find you the right resources. It's to analyze our options, finding the best for you and your student. The student will take an interest survey online, and they will also take an online assessment to gauge both their interests and their aptitudes. Finally, the results will be professionally curated by your own personal college coach. This college coach will also help to discuss and determine the best return on your investment. They will also help develop a personalized plan of action so that the student can begin implementing that plan and that they can graduate on time, because that is our ultimate goal when we're talking about college. Anytime you make an investment, you want to assure that you do your research, that you have a clear plan, and that it's executed properly. And that's really what we help to do with the College Planning Roadmap. We change the focus of college and we put it as an investment of not only our time, but also of our money. It's a significant investment and it needs to be done right. And that's why I'd like to invite you to jump on a 20-minute no-cost discovery call to help you gain some clarity on the college planning process. The goal of the call is to give you one actionable tip to help you de-stress the planning process as well as to help save you money in the long haul. You can book by simply clicking the link below on this page. It will redirect you to my calendar where you can pick the day and time that work best for you. You can also use the URL that I have provided here. I encourage you not to wait to book your appointment because they do fill up quickly. And again, you can click the link below or use the URL. Thank you, and I look forward to hearing from you.